Hello, welcome to Friday Business News Report. Now on our feature on the show today, we look at the budget presentation President Muhammadu Buhari made to the joint session of the National Assembly just yesterday. Now the budget size of 16.39 trillion naira was presented, and the budget presented also fixed the price of oil at $57 per barrel at the rate of 1.88 million barrels of oil production per day, and the exchange rate of 410 naira 15 kobo to the dollar. A breakdown of the budget also shows that the federal government's total expenditure for the coming year is projected to increase by 2.4 trillion naira from the 13.98 trillion naira to hit 16.45 trillion naira. This includes government-owned enterprises as well as project-tied loans. Joining me now to discuss this and much more, I have economist and also public finance and policy analyst Olusegun Elemo. Good to have you on the breakfast show this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Now let's start off with commendations that have poured in, looking at the concerted effort at ensuring that we have a budgetary cycle of January to December. And one of the highlights also made mention by the President is that we're also going to see the Finance Bill 2022 also accompany the passage of the budget. How commendable would you say this is?
Well, that's quite fantastic. It's good that we've been consistent, through the last few budgets, the commitment of the National Assembly to ensuring that we return to the January to December budget cycle is commendable. And that effort itself is appreciated. It sort of helped to organize our financial year. Not because we cannot have, a July to June or a March to February budget year, but a more organized fiscal year is January to December, and it's good that the National Assembly has committed itself to following that route. Also, it's good that that the Finance Bill 2022 will accompany the passage of the Appropriation Bill, and it's good. It will further put clarity to the position and the position of government with regards to revenue, how it intends to mobilize revenue, and then the direction it intends to go. For instance, with the issue of taxation and levies and things like that. I think those things will be made clearer in the Finance Bill. And then, of course, stakeholders are waiting to see what the amendment will be to the Finance Bill
2022. So now, also looking at the budget estimates that we have in the breakdown, now we also see the same models, the same ratio, the same pattern in terms of recurrent and capital expenditure. And for so many analysts like yourself, this largely limits our growth projection. So in as much as we are looking at the GDP growth rate projected to hit certain limits, we still cannot afford to reach this. And another major highlight that was a concern for so many is the fact that the President made mention of the fact that we are still within safe debt thresholds, but we rather have a revenue generation challenge. How do we juxtapose these two realities and make sense of it vis-a-vis the current figures we have on ground? We have a budget deficit of well over 6 trillion naira. We have much more borrowings that we are yet to pay back and a whole lot more. So the question is, how do we manage this if our recurrent and capital expenditure still mimic the same old pattern where we barely record any growth?
Well, you see, this issue about debt, it's a mixed issue. Number one is that the government is not generating enough revenue, but another side to it is that government itself, its expenditure is not efficient. And I'll give you a critical example. If the president says that the debt threshold is still within limits, affordable limits, it's understandable. It's contextual, and you can say you can tweak it the way you want. It depends on which side of the divide you are looking from. Yes, we must borrow, and Nigeria is not the only country that is borrowing at this time. And the economic situation, as a result of what's happening globally, also puts us in a position to spend more. But my own thought is that if government says it's unable to mobilize enough revenue, and then you are having a deficit of almost 6 trillion, and then even the revenue that you claim that you are going to get is still, I mean, it's not feasible. I mean, when you look at the parameters, and I can put it down for you to see. But the point is that if government is saying that you don't have enough revenue, and then you are spending so much on subsidy, and you are raising taxes and levies on the other hand, and you want to really look at where exactly does government lie in this. So we have to do something that is more realistic and something that doesn't just pay out a few, but works for the common good of the people. I think that is what is most important. I think policymakers should commit themselves.
Well, we've been speaking with public finance and policy analyst Olusegun Elemo. Definitely we'll keep our fingers crossed as we see the National Assembly scrutinize the budget estimates presented just yesterday, and also look at whether or not we're going to see adjustments in the figures we have.